guys, welcome to your first Android lesson. For this lesson, I'm just going to be going over some fundamentals that really do make up Android. I wanted to go over these things before we actually started coding so you would have a firmer grasp of how the Android system works. Well, you know, once you learn how to do something, overall you'll be a better programmer. Anyway, over the next 8 lessons or so, we're just going to be learning the basics. I wouldn't suggest skipping this sections. I'd actually suggest taking notes on them. I'll be asking questions and exercise files over the concepts we go over here. To begin building Android, we should know how the pieces of Android work. First off, Android applications are written in Java code. There's an XML component we will be using to inflate, quote-unquote, the Java code, but we will go over that in later lessons. Android SDKs compile the code into a package. This is an archive file called an APK. An Android phone is run on a Linux kernel. Once an application is installed on a device, it lives in its own little world. So you have your phone as the operating system, and an application would be something like your Gmail app or your Facebook app. The system assigns a unique Linux user ID to each application. To ensure security, the ID is known to the system but unknown to the application. The process is run in its own little world on its own little virtual machine, the VM, so that the code runs in isolation of other applications. Android starts a process of any application. It then shuts down the process when it's no longer needed. It does this so that the system can recover memory and other usage of the phone once the application's process is shut off. This means that the Android system also implements the principle of least privilege. This creates very secure systems. Even though applications operate in their own little environments, they can still share data with one another. It is possible to arrange for 2 applications to share the same user ID. They can then share files. The applications can also request permission to access device data, like contacts, SMS, SD card storage, camera, and others. These permissions all must be given by the user when the user goes to install the application. I wanted to show you guys some other resources that you have at your disposal as well. I'm using OpenOffice. If you look in my browser, this is the Android developer website. Right now, if you see right here that little icon, my internet's messed up, so I'm actually not able to access the internet. But when we all start to program, we will be downloading what's called this ADT bundle from the Android website, the developer.android.com. And actually inside of this is the material you'll receive later on. We can go inside the SDK, docs, and inside a docs folder is, you click on this index file right here, and it actually launches the resource website. Now when we get to that point, I'll just show you how to navigate to this, because this is what I'll be using to address all the different components of the Android system. I will actually be using this for the first couple of tutorials to help guide you through learning how to use a resource like this, because when you first start programming, you can kind of be intimidated by the things that you see, or you may not know how to leverage the resources, so you just don't use it. And there's some really great resources here at your disposal. But that'll all be in the next lesson. Actually, if you would like to follow along, I'll be going over this activity section next. Now you can access this by going to developer.android.com. You'll see this, you hit this, develop, and hit that, and then you go to reference, and you hit this down arrow, and there's application fundamentals. It took me a while to track this down. In the older versions of the site, it used to just be bam, right there. Alright, well, we'll see you guys in the next lesson.